As film continues to grow and evolve, is it safe to say that digital is the way forward? Is there still an attraction to analogue filming? What exactly is the attraction to filming digitally? In this documentary, we will be looking at both the pros and cons of digital and analogue filming.
If we're talking about analogue film as a device to see films, then at the moment I feel quite strongly pro-analogue. I like 35mm, I like the texture of 35mm, I like watching films with 35mm projector. So at that level, I'm very much in favour of it.
I think that it's quite good in the fact that it gives you that extra grain, that sense of authenticity, that feel of reality about it, where everything's not so smooth.
When they asked how they thought the digital transition affected the film industry, HMV said, since the mass availability of Blu-ray technology, a lot of people have even stopped buying DVD format in favour of Blu-ray discs.
With the analogue, there's a lot more technical skill to that than what there is today with the new digital ones, because everything is done virtually by computer.
It's quite realistic, and when you're watching a realistic film, you can it makes you feel closer to home.
When I emailed Chloe and asked her why she preferred digital films as opposed to analogue films, she said, I prefer newer films that are digital because the effects literally pop out at you, and there's a lot to look at. Films without these effects tend to lose my interest a lot easier since digital films are being made more frequently. My favourite films are superhero movies, and without these effects they wouldn't be half as good as they are in digital.
I'm not thinking of it like this. Films that are done in analogue, when you watch them, you like them, you usually like them, and because of the way they're filmed, they're usually pretty flawless.
I think with digital films, they keep you more on the edge of your seat due to all the special effects, and I think the actors don't need to be as good as analogue actors have to be because they've got all the extras to cover it all up.
When asked whether audiences were more attracted to analogue films rather than digital, the Prince Charles Cinema stated that there is a part of their audience that will only come and watch old films that are presented on 35mm film.
Digital is sensible, kind of the reverse is true then. Digital as a technique of filmmaking quite clearly is better, it's quicker, it allows you a lot more choice, it involves you on not having to be able to take risks to shoot something and then reshoot it. Digital editing quite clearly is, as I say, a clearly much more straightforward format.
I think the digital filming is really good, but it still has quite a way to go.
There's a lot more effects, so there's a lot more that you can do with the camera.
When asked if the digital transition affected the film industry, the Prince Charles Cinema responded by saying, it helped distributors move and create film prints cheaply and quickly, which has led to greater wealth for availability and movement for new films. From an exhibitor standpoint, it has simplified the process within the projection office, as we don't need to build and break 35mm films all day.
There are more effects that can be added into digital film than it can be in analogue film.
You watch a digital film, you can watch it, but usually you end up picking up something on CGI, it was good, but CGI. It was good, but this effect. It's all to do with digital. Digital is good, but it still does have quite a way to go, because I've watched some really good films where the CGI was just, the effects were just absolute load of rubbish.
In terms of as a filmmaking format, however, I can well understand why it's not something I'd ever want to go back to. Clearly nobody has been editing on analogue for a very long time now, so it really is an issue about shooting, and even if you're shooting on analogue film, as an amateur filmmaker without a kind of series of people behind me, it's a slow process. and yeah, I'd never want to go back to it.
I know there's some cinemas that no longer show analogue films, and I find that a lot of younger generations are only watching digital films, so I think it definitely is the future.
It's a future, but it's not the future. I reckon that the future is going to be divided. The future is going to be divided because when celluloid and digital, you can't have one without the other. I mean, this can do something that this can't, but this can do something that this can't. They'll always go hand in hand, and you'll always have people that prefer one and the other. So, the future, I reckon, is going to be digital and celluloid. I reckon they're going to share it. Digital will probably take a bigger chunk of that. Because as technology improves and what we're actually able to do and the quality of film that we're able to produce, I reckon people will fall more in love with that. But then again, no matter how good it gets, you cannot beat the reality of celluloid.
Some ways, yeah, because there are things like 3D, there's Blu-ray, there's HD TVs and all of that. And you don't really see analogue projectors anymore. So I definitely think that digital is the.
It's safe to say that analogue filming may have set the groundwork for digital filming, but as the future becomes the present and digital filming continues to advance, there becomes less and less of a need for film.